Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 56 of Two Guys, Zero Planners. Hopefully, I was able to get this released in May. I don't have anything on my schedule, so I think editing me was able to actually pull that one off. It's been a while, but we told you this was coming, so here we are, trying to actually stick to a schedule. Hey, Urban, how's it going?
Yeah, I mean, first swim in the lakes for the kids today. Probably not super warm, like, I don't know. If we're generous, it's probably 15 Celsius. That would be, I don't know, 60
I was about to say, can you convert that?
Okay. It's about 60, but probably a bit less. So they stayed in the water for 2 minutes, maybe. But get to start the season somehow, I guess.
Only staying in the water for 2 minutes? Come on, man. Swimming in the Pacific Ocean gets colder than that, I think.
Yeah, on the other hand, next weekend, we're off to Greece, so...
Oh.
And then we can say, oh, the Mediterranean, it's so warm, and we can go swim every day. So.
See, now I don't know whether or not to be happy for you or hate you, because I miss swimming in the Mediterranean. That was some of my best childhood memories.
Well, I'm not looking forward to the drive to the south or to Ancona in Italy from us. It's like 7 to 8 hours on a not so busy day on that Sunday when everyone is going on holidays, maybe even longer. And then, yeah. But after that, it's just a ferry ride and then somewhere in Greece. So it should be good. But that I'm not looking forward to.
Put a pin in that comment, by the way. Put a pin in that 7 to 8 hour comment. We'll come back to that.
I mean, that's without breaks, and with kids, that's going to be breaks. So it's going to be a whole day.
Fair. Well, before we get into future holiday plans, if it sounds any different, it's because my move is done. I am now in a different apartment, 700 feet away from my previous apartment in the exact same complex. So did I really move if I stayed at the same place?
Well, depends on how much work it was, I guess.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out how much work it actually qualified as. Honestly, compared to most of my previous moves, it wasn't really that much work. It was just a lot of financial hassle. Paying the moving company $540, paying another $550 for final move out expenses for the previous apartment due to just, various dings, dents and stuff that they have to take care of anyways when you move out of a place. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was, I don't know. I think the older I get, even when I'm not lifting a finger, it's still tiring mentally.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many more of these random moves I have left in me, but yeah, the audio gear is no longer in my bedroom. So I'm recording in a living room that has hardwood floors. Some of all of my soundproofing panels are still in here, and the microphone I'm using is probably doing a very good job getting rid of any of the early reflections and stuff like that. Also, when did we get this carpet? We got this carpet at Incirlik Air Force Base in Turkey, just outside of Adana, in 1989. Mm-hmm. That's what, a 30-year-old carpet at this point? Like 35 years? Yeah, that's old. Yeah, well, I mean, hey, Turkish carpets, man. You hold on to them because they look good. The bad thing is this carpet has been through so many moves, so many, I was an irresponsible kid when we got this thing. I can still see the grape juice stain in one of the corners that I put there in Indiana in 1993.
There's a whole subgenre of YouTube videos of people professionally cleaning carpets. It's one of those ASMR things. We can watch someone clean the carpet for 10 minutes and see all the gunk and everything come out.
That reminds me of a video game that I got really addicted to for a few months. Power Wash Simulator. The entire purpose of the video game is just power washing stuff.
Okay.
It was so therapeutic, just sitting there and power washing stuff for hours on end. Literally coming home from work at 7:30 at night and then power washing things in video game form until 4 o'clock in the morning, just completely losing track of time. And then trying to figure out, wait a second, did I remember to eat? So, yeah. Back to the move, though. On the plus side, I also have a patio for the dogs to occasionally sit on. So that's nice.
Yeah, that's true.
We haven't had much patio time, though, because Oklahoma in April and May equals tornadoes and rain. Yay.
Oh, yeah.
Good times. Good times. Speaking of good times, you had a couple while we were taking some time off. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about those?
Well, so over Easter, we went to northern Norway, to Tromsø for a week to go northern light hunting. So on the one hand, it was kind of successful because on the first night, we actually went out somewhere, 20 minutes from the town in some random deserted place. And we actually saw pretty nice northern lights. So that was good. But then my wife and my daughter sort of one after the other got sick, and most of the holiday, some of us or most of us actually spent in the hotel. So that wasn't super great. And Tromsø itself isn't that big of a town. There isn't all that much to do. There's a polar museum, obviously, where you can learn about Amundsen, because he apparently started from Tromsø and died when he left there as well, or something. And you can watch. There's an aquarium in there, but there isn't all that much to do if you don't go out and do, look for northern lights or go skiing or whatever. So, yeah. On the other hand, our hotel room, it wasn't even a room, right? It was 2 bedrooms, 1 living room and a kitchen and everything. So it was fine-ish. But obviously, this being probably the most expensive holiday we ever took, because A, it's very far north, and B, it's Norway anyway, so that's super expensive. I mean, it could have gone better, I guess. But we did see the Northern Lights.
That's always a plus. Did you get any good pictures of them?
Well, we only had our phones with us. So, I mean, if you take an iPhone and you do this 30-second long exposure, it does a decent job of it, actually. So, not too bad, actually. So, that was surprising. But yeah, we didn't want to take big cameras and gear and everything. We just stood out there in freezing our asses off. And then it was weird, right? It wasn't all that cold. It was like, at night, -5, -6 Celsius.
Freedom units.
Let's see.
I haven't finished my first cup of coffee, so I can't do the math in my head.
So that's about 20 Fahrenheit. So that's not super cold. But somehow...
No, it could be a lot worse.
But and there wasn't even a wind, but it's when it's, in the middle of the night, midnight, 1 o'clock or something, and you're standing there and looking at the sky and not moving, it just feels super cold. I don't know. It's weird.
You're not wrong. That's still cold enough that your fingers start getting stubborn. So I can empathize there. Some of the, oh God, what was it? The picture that I got back in February, I think. I'm having to check my Instagram. When did I post that picture? Oh, wow. No, that was back in November. Okay. That picture of the moon with Jupiter behind it. It was over Thanksgiving weekend. And I think it was like, I want to say 12, 13 degrees Fahrenheit. And there was no wind, but there was slight humidity. And it just got bitter cold. Like I took 400 pictures just to make sure that I got a picture I was happy with. And by the time I was done, I could not feel my middle finger on my right hand side. So it's just like, okay, that's a fun experience. Let's not do that again. But yeah, I mean, I think if it was me, I probably still would have gone completely overboard and brought like 3 cameras and tried getting it set up to where I could get like multiple angles and stuff. But yeah, I could see stripping it down and just going with an iPhone.
Yeah, and the rest of the time just looking at it, I guess.
It's amazing what we as humans decide to just sit there and stare at.
But yeah, it does look amazing if it's like you're sort of close to a beach and it's like cold and there's mountains everywhere because it's Norway and it's just there's mountains close to the sea everywhere anyway, and then suddenly across the whole sky you get this green bands there. It is impressive, definitely.
So you at least got to see a good aurora and had a good aurora experience. Well, good-ish experience.
Yeah, I mean that the aurora experience was good, but then the rest of the holiday wasn't all that great. We did, me and my wife, we went to what I think by now is the third northernmost brewery. Ooh. And we tried some. It used to be the northernmost, and I think then somewhere in Canada is the northernmost, and then somewhere in Greenland there's one in that area. So they're all very close. But yeah, it used to be number one. And we tried some really random, weird beers. It was interesting to try a banana beer or something, but it was a bit weird. But yeah, we did that too. And I don't know, we sat next to a stuffed ice bear, and there was a plaque behind it saying that one of the kills of the ice bear king. I don't know.
Wow.
Some Norwegian who, I don't know, killed 170 ice bears or something.
That is sounding more and more touristy as you describe it.
Yeah, kind of.
Wow.
But yeah.
Also, banana beer. That I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I mean the banana beer wasn't great. To me, the worst one was actually the smoked one. But yeah.
So that kind of reminds me of a place that we have here in Oklahoma called Soda Pops. There's this road in the U.S. called Route 66. All of our U.S. listeners are suddenly sitting there going, wow, you're explaining Route 66 like Urban is 5. Yeah, well, there's reasons. One of the mainstays of the American highway system. And you get tourist traps all up and down it from Illinois to California. One of those tourist traps is this place called Soda Pops that is a store that sells thousands of different types of soda. Mm-hmm. If you want pickle soda, they've got multiple variations. Butter soda, still plenty of variations. Not like Harry Potter butterbeer. Mm-hmm. Just it tastes like a stick of butter in soda form. That's kind of what banana beer reminds me of. It reminds me of that place because there's probably banana soda in there somewhere.
I mean, it didn't taste much of banana, but it was just weird. I don't know.
I would say probably the weirdest thing I have had. Oh God, what was it? What was it called? I think it was Soviet strawberry soda. It was the most bitter tasting strawberry soda I've ever had. But it was interesting. It was interesting. I feel like I would have the same feeling if I had banana beer.
Yeah, luckily it was just we had sort of 5 tasters, just really small ones, and we couldn't finish. I think we finished 2 of them because they were okay, and the other 3 we just we left half of it because they were so bad. But yeah, they had like, I don't know, 40, 50 different kinds. But
now, okay,
probably had a sort of tried. I don't know, stuck to some normal stuff instead. Yeah.
Right. Now, you, sir, are a German, correct?
Yeah.
You come from the home of what many would consider to be good beer, correct?
Yes. I guess so.
Is your favorite beer domestic or is it considered import?
And I'm in Bavaria, right? I mean, that's like...
Yeah, you're like in the cradle of what we as outsiders consider beer heaven.
Yeah, I mean, I'm currently drinking actually a can of beer from Spaten, which is a brewery from Munich, a big one. And here it says since 1894. So, of course, you drink the beer that's local. I mean, even there's one beer we used to drink as I don't know, 15, 16-year-olds at parties. There was this one specific brand from Munich that basically everyone drank at every party. So, yeah.
I envy you so much.
Don't get me started on Belgian beers. That's not my thing.
I mean, it's sad. Like American beers, you can pick up a 36-pack super cheap of the American stuff, like your Budweisers, your Michelobs, your Coors Lights, if you really even want to consider that a beer. But it's like, if you want to get yourself a good German lager, one bottle of that will set you back $20.
Okay.
because of like how much we have to pay for import fees and all that other garbage. So it's just like, damn, I would probably, like, if I ever moved to Germany, I would probably spend the first 2 months I lived there completely shit-faced before I finally realized, oh, wait, I have to be a responsible adult and quit drinking so I can actually go to work and do my job. By the way, everyone, this is not in the show notes at all. This is a complete tangent. What was that about us having plans?
Well, I mean, we did manage to record in time, so that's already good enough, I think.
That is true. And I did set up the TeamSpeak server 5 minutes before it was time to record. Well, I sold the Mac Mini that the server used to be on. So I had to set up a mobile server that I can just turn on and off when we're recording. Good times.
Yeah.
Circling back to the show notes, though, because we actually do have those. Now, I actually, because of the tease of an Aurora that we got 2 nights ago, I have to actually travel to a place where I can see a good version of it now. Because the version I got was very lackluster, and we've got a link in the show notes. I feel ripped off. Like, I legitimately feel ripped off. All I got was a little bit of purple. That's it. And Russian space junk. That streak in the sky is a piece of Russian satellite. I had to confirm it with some space junk trackers, but that's exactly what it was. So the Russians photobombed my picture, and it wasn't even a good picture. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this year is the solar high. I guess that's why it's coming so far south. Even here, you apparently could have seen it last night and maybe this night too, but I think I go to bed instead.
Well, if you look at the next picture I've gotten there, the sunspots, yeah, that high activity in the southern hemisphere is what's causing everything right now. That's crazy. Also, the fact that I'm sitting there taking a picture of something 150 million miles away is kind of crazy. That's still just weird.
Yeah, that's true.
If it hadn't been windy, I probably could have gotten the sunspots in better focus.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here complaining about the focus from that far away. What is wrong with me?
Still better than most people, probably. And I guess we were talking about 7 to 8 hour trips. I think this is what you meant. I think it took you a while to get there.
So staring at the sun, one of the other reasons while you were on holiday, looking at
freezing my ass off.
Yeah, while you were freezing your ass off, I was having to go to the hell of America, also known as Arkansas. Granted, Van Ness is there, and that is a small bit of heaven. And I think one of the small pen makers, well, not really small pen makers, but one of the pen makers is also there as well. So those two things are good. The rest of Arkansas, pure hell. I had to go there for the eclipse instead of Texas because, well, nature decided to nature, and Texas was completely hosed over with clouds unless I wanted to go so far south that I was going to be driving for 25 hours. So that was a no-go. So the day of the eclipse, me and my friend leave Oklahoma City at about, I want to say we got out of here at 7:45 in the morning, which should have been plenty of time. Like on paper, it was only a 4-hour, 15-minute drive to where we were going. It took 6.5 hours to get there. I only had 30 minutes to get set up to get all the pictures that I needed, which totally sucked. It was to the point where as we had just gotten to the east side of Fort Smith, just inside of the Arkansas border, we were at a standstill on the interstate, and it was so bad. I had my friend get out of the car, get into the trunk, grab the backpack with the cameras, and get them into the car so we could go ahead and start setting the cameras up while we were still an hour away from our destination.
Yeah, and that's sort of the annoying bit, right? Driving somewhere, that's fine. But when you then sort of are in a traffic jam with everyone, that's the boring and annoying bit.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that's what we will have in the next holiday on the way, on probably both ways, because it's like 2 weeks of holiday for a large chunk of Germany, and lots of people are going to Italy, I guess. So we'll have to start really, really early to avoid most of it, hopefully.
And here's the bad thing. Like, sure, I got to look at a total eclipse. I was so busy taking pictures that I don't remember actually looking at the eclipse. I know I did. but I don't remember it. The only thing about that day I actually remember is focusing on my viewfinders on 3 different cameras.
Okay. Yeah.
And making sure I got all the pictures. But yeah, so it was 6.5 hours to get there, then another 7 hours to get home.
On the same day? Oh.
In the same day, yeah.
Okay, no. No, thank you.
Well, come on. It's not that bad. It was horrible. There was no sugarcoating it. It was horrible. Karma, I'm recording a podcast. I can't play with you right now. Oh, dogs. And that was the other thing. I had to leave them at home. So it's like, yeah, it was an ordeal. But for what it was, seeing a total eclipse, which is something that we won't be able to do here in the US for another 21 years, it was a pretty good moment. I mean, sure. It was, for a lot of people, probably a once-in-a-lifetime thing. So, sure. I'm also really happy with the pictures that I got from it. So, there is that.
They turned out really great. That's true.
I'm happy. There was so much stress going into that. I was panicking on a couple occasions because I actually had people before the day of the eclipse going, you need to get good shots now because I want to go ahead and buy a copy of it when you get back. And I'm sitting there just going, why did you have to say that? Why did you have to be a horrible person and put that in my brain? But it worked out. So I do actually have prints of both the Ring of Fire eclipse in October and the total eclipse of April for sale on my website. So there is that. Always good things. Link is going to be in the show notes for that. You can tell I'm horrible at marketing myself. So there you go. But yeah, I don't know. I got more of a payoff for doing 13 hours of driving than I did for the 25 minutes of driving to go get lackluster pictures of the aurora a couple nights ago. So I don't know. Photography, man.
Yeah.
If you have any self-respect, don't ever let yourself become a photographer. There's one last topic in our show notes for today, and it's another me doing a lot of talking. Yeah. Good times. So, granted, back when I quit doing the YouTube channel in January, it was because I was getting burnt out. I'd spent over $10,000 on an endeavor that I was definitely not getting my money back on. There's also another reason that was creeping in, and I just didn't think anything of it until it started getting worse and worse and worse. And that's the fact that I've got carpal tunnel on my right hand. Yeah. That sucks because I like Pelicans.
Yeah.
I also liked the Pelican M200s and 205s because, well, they're nice looking pens. I can't hold a pen that small anymore.
Okay.
I have lost the ability to hold anything that small, which sucks. So recently I sold off all of my M200s and 205s and my 120 Iconic Blue and my Stormtrooper. And it's weird. It's like there's been a part of me, because here's the fun thing. The YouTube channel has gained an extra 400 subscribers since I quit doing it. It's a zombie. It's continuing to live. There's been a few inks that I've seen where it's like, wow, I would really like to sit down and do a video on that. That's a good looking ink. I think it would be fun. But then I'm like, my body is telling me I can't even do this stuff anymore, which really sucks. It's weird having a hobby that requires your hand to be working at close to workable efficiency. And then just, yeah, I don't know how to put it into words. It's just, it sucks.
Yeah, that's really not cool.
No, it isn't.
Do you think, is it going, do you think that's going to stay that way, or is the path forward where it's going to get better maybe eventually? So
what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to mitigate it as much as possible so it doesn't get worse without having to do surgery. I don't like sharp objects. Karma, I'm recording. I'm recording. We no, go lay down. We'll play later. But yeah, I don't like sharp objects, especially when those sharp objects are near me. Also, the concept of anesthesia just does not sit right with me. I don't know why, but Sure, I can become completely loopy and forget who I am while I'm drunk. Sure, that's fine. But I don't want that to be medically induced through any type of anesthetic. Like even when I had my wisdom teeth pulled, no anesthetic. I didn't want it because it just felt just no. Which 10 out of 10 would not recommend. If you're having wisdom teeth stuff done, get the painkillers. I made that mistake. Do not be like me. But yeah, I'm trying to mitigate the damage at home as much as I can. Which if I do it right, I think I'll still be able to keep using like M400s and bigger. Mm-hmm. But yeah, my days of being able to use anything smaller than that without having surgery are probably permanently gone.
Okay. Wow.
Which, yeah. And I knew something like that was coming up because like I've already had nerve damage in my right hand, and going into the tail end of last year, and you can see it in some of my last videos on the channel. You could see during my handwriting samples, I was a little bit shakier while I was writing.
Yep.
And what most people didn't know about those writing samples because of how I do production, I was filming everything in 8K 30, so I could slow it down just slightly to 8K 24 and make it look like my handwriting was smoother than it really was. Mm-hmm. So I already knew I had issues going into it then, but I was hoping they wouldn't get worse. And over the last month and a half is when I started noticing, no, my right hand is really fucked up and it's not nerve damage anymore.
Okay.
It's to the point where I can't even play bass using a pick.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have to be a real bass player now and use nothing but my fingers. Which, yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Bass playing using your fingers, it's supposed to be what you do, but I've always used a pick because I always played punk or ska or stuff like that. And I like playing drums as well, so it's like, okay, how am I going to be able to do that if my hand is doing... So there's a lot of parts of my life where it's like, okay, I'm having to reevaluate that stuff. It's like, how can I still enjoy all these different aspects of my life without making the problem worse and without having to deal with sharp objects and surgery and all that good stuff?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Hands are important, I guess. Yeah.
I wish we still had the ability to do things with our feet. When mankind decided to evolve and come down out of the trees and work in cubicles for little green pieces of paper, we should not have lost our foot dexterity when it comes to using those as extra sets of hands. We should have kept that. So I propose that we as mankind re-evolve to bring back the use of our feet as extra hands.
Yeah, that's going to take a while, I guess.
Yeah, well, hey, not in my lifetime, but someone else can do it. I guess that's all a roundabout way of saying all I ever did again was review ink. I think I would almost start the YouTube channel back up, but I can't because of my hand. Mm-hmm. I also feel guilty about the fact that I've got 3 cameras that are really damned expensive and nice, and all these lenses and these professional lights and all this gear that I'm not using, and I feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
Oh no, I also feel like I'm not getting enough creative outlet, which is weird, but part of that was also the fact that we took 2.5 months off. So there is that. And knowing better, the YouTuber that I do freelance work for, he's been working on his latest video for the SDA Church, so the Seventh-day Adventists. He's been working on that video since November. Mm-hmm. He finished filming, and this is going to be a 2-hour and 52-minute YouTube video.
Wow, is anyone going to watch that?
Surprisingly enough, his demographic actually watches that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I have problems with anything that's, if it's above 10 minutes, it's going to be a commitment, I guess.
I think I have to double check. How long was Lord of the Rings?
All 3 films extended?
No, non-extended.
I mean, so, I did watch that with some friends many years ago. All 3 of them extended edition in one day. So,
Fellowship of the Ring's running time is 2 hours and 58 minutes. Jesus, that is nuts. That is just completely nuts. Yeah. And at some point, I'm actually going to have to watch the rough draft of the video. Mm-hmm. And then if there's something I don't like, or something I have him change and he changes it, then I have to watch that again to make sure. So yeah. But I mean, he's been spending, kind of the reason I brought that up, because of how long he's been taking to work on this video, I haven't really been doing that much work there either. Like literally all my work for this last video has happened in the last 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And literally all I've been doing for that was helping him set up scenes, helping him do his lighting, doing the color grading for the final LUTs, and making sure all that stuff is good. Like he gave me the final thumbs up on that today, right before we started recording. Technically, my work for this video is now done. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, okay, I guess I'll sit around till the next video, which I think he told me the topic of the video, but now I can't remember. I feel like I've kind of lost a little bit of a creative outlet because it's just like I haven't been doing much creatively. Yeah. Did I? Wow. Yeah, we're leaving that flub in. Creatively. That's how you properly say that word. Creatively. I can English. Yay. But yeah. I say that. I'm getting down on myself for not being creative and not using my gear. While in the bottom right corner of my screen, I'm sitting here looking at a picture of an eclipse that I took. What the hell is wrong with me, Urban?
I mean, if it feels like that, I don't know. It's sometimes hard to say what's real and when you shouldn't really overdo it, I guess.
That is true. That's true. You know what we should do, though?
What?
I think what we should do is go ahead and save everything else that we have in the show doc for now, for next episode, which is going to happen when you get back from yet another vacation, which we'll talk about then.
Yeah, this one is hopefully a bit more successful.
Yeah.
And then that's probably the last vacation for a while anyway.
Well, and then at some point, like, you're going to have to fill me in on your new job because there hasn't been any expanding beyond. So I haven't heard about your job stuff.
Yes. You will probably be the first one to hear it when I'm back anyway, because we will then go back to recording there too, because we both had problems, let's call it like that, with jobs. And it took us a while to figure it all out. Not only me, so it's like both of us.
So what I'm hearing is the first episode of Expanding Beyond is going to be a 2-hour episode.
I don't know if it's going to be a 2-hour episode, but it's going to be about trials and tribulations of jobs, and sometimes when it doesn't work out. And the the job market in tech currently is a bit weird anyway. Probably more so in the US than it is over here, but still.
I would say, and this is my outside observation looking in, because I'm just help desk. I'm not real tech. I'm just help desk. The video game industry seems to be suffering more in the US than actual. No, I stand corrected. You're right. Because thousands of people got laid off at X, Meta, Google, and that was just in the US alone. So yeah, no, I guess you're right. Never mind.
Although in the end, I guess we shouldn't complain too much because it's still comparatively safe job anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I look forward to hearing all about that on the first episode back of Expanding Beyond and our next episode here sometime in June. So till then, we'll see you next time.
See you. Bye-bye.